Aylin Garcia stood before her bedroom mirror, adjusting her hijab with care. Today marked her first day at the Spice Lounge, a restaurant celebrated for its fusion of Turkish and Australian cuisines. Aylin felt a mixture of pride and anxiety as she thought about her family's journey. Her parents had immigrated from Turkey seeking a better life, leaving behind everything they knew. They often recounted tales of their struggles and triumphs, filling Aylin with admiration and a sense of duty to honor their sacrifices. Her father, Mehmet, had worked multiple jobs to provide for the family, while her mother, Layla, infused their home with the rich traditions of Turkish culture. Aromatic spices, lively music, and the warmth of communal meals. Aylin's identity was intertwined with their stories, fueling her ambition to carve out her own path as a chef and advocate for her community. Stepping into the restaurant, Aylin was greeted by the intoxicating scent of grilled kebabs and the vibrant atmosphere filled with laughter and clinking dishes. Her heart raced with excitement, but it quickly faded as she noticed Mr. Thompson, the owner, barking orders at his staff with a tone that made her stomach churn. During her first week, Aylin overheard him speaking dismissively about customers. "These migrants think they can come here and take jobs from hard-working Australians," he grumbled to a colleague. Aylin felt a pang in her chest. She was determined to prove her worth. But the weight of his prejudices hung heavy in the air. One evening, Mr. Thompson summoned Aylin to his office, his expression unreadable. "Aylin, we need to talk. I've received complaints that you've been stealing from the register," he stated, crossing his arms. "Stealing, that's absurd. I've put my heart into this job." Aylin replied, her voice shaking. "Mature." Thompson leaned forward, his gaze piercing. "You're suspended while I investigate this matter." As she left his office, Aylin's heart raced. The air felt thick with judgment, each breath heavier than the last. She couldn't shake the feeling of being cornered, stripped of her dignity. When Aylin returned to work, the atmosphere had shifted. Colleagues who had once greeted her warmly now whispered among themselves, casting furtive glances. During a busy dinner service, she overheard two coworkers snickering as she walked by. "Maybe if she spoke English properly, we wouldn't have these problems." One sneered, his words slicing through her like a knife. The humiliation surged within Aylin, flooding her with doubt. She felt the weight of their mockery, her self-esteem crumbling beneath it. As she scrubbed dishes in the kitchen, the rhythmic sound of water was drowned out by the chaos of her thoughts. "Am I not enough?" Aylin confided in Zara during their lunch break. "Every time I step into that restaurant, it feels like I'm invisible. It's like they've painted me as the villain." Zara leaned in, her brow furrowed with concern. "You are not a villain. You are hardworking and passionate. They are just blinded by their ignorance." "But how do I fight against that?" Aylin questioned, her voice barely above a whisper. Zara took a deep breath. "You stand tall. You're not alone in this. Let's reach out for help." Determined to take control of her narrative, Aylin contacted the Human Rights Commission, recounting the events that had led to her humiliation. "I felt dehumanized. My culture and identity were weaponized against me," she explained, her voice steady but laced with emotion. During the meeting, Mr. Thompson sat across the table, his demeanor defensive. "I'm just trying to protect my business," he retorted, though Aylin could see his bravado waver as she spoke. "Protecting your business or protecting your biases?" Aylin challenged, feeling a surge of power as she articulated her truth. After the meeting, Aylin returned home, where the warmth of her family awaited her. Over dinner, she shared her experience, her parents listening intently. "I felt so alone, like I was battling shadows," Aylin confessed, tears welling in her eyes. Leela reached across the table, her hand resting on Aylin's. "You are strong, Aylin. We've faced challenges together. This is just one more step on your journey." After a difficult week, Aylin found solace in connecting with other marginalized individuals at a community center. There, she met others who had faced discrimination, and their stories resonated deeply within her. "I felt invisible at work too. one participant shared. But together, we can amplify our voices. Aylin realized that her journey was not just her own, it was a collective struggle for dignity and respect. Inspired by their solidarity, she began organizing workshops focused on sharing experiences and advocating for change. As Aylin immersed herself in her advocacy work, she infused elements of her Turkish heritage into her efforts. Cooking workshops featured traditional dishes, transforming recipes into narratives of resilience and cultural pride. She showcased her family's recipes, honoring the flavors that shaped her identity. During one workshop, Aylin stood before a group of eager participants. Cooking is not just about food, it's about connection, culture, and community, she said, her heart swelling with pride. With her newfound purpose, Aylin's blog, Voices of the Kitchen, gained traction. She shared her story and the stories of others, celebrating the beauty of diversity. One day, she received a heartfelt message from a former colleague at the Spice Lounge. "Thank you for standing up. Your courage inspired me to challenge the prejudices I saw." It read. Aylin smiled through her tears, realizing that true revenge lay not in harming those who had wronged her, but in rising above their negativity and empowering others. Through her actions, she created a legacy of hope and solidarity, inspiring a community that thrived on diversity and mutual respect. In the end, Aylin learned that standing up for one's identity is not only a personal fight but a collective one. With each story shared, she contributed to a more inclusive world, reminding everyone that every voice matters and that together they could create change.